Leicester Racing, SA agent for J&A Kart Tuning, proudly presents Sportsman SA. Okay, popular little race this one, and Mark Lunn in the 22 leads them out from John Downkowski in the 8. So it's 2-1. Mark Lunn's won 2 of the races and John Downkowski's won 1 of them. Downkowski wasn't as quick as Mark Lunn in the pre-final this morning, so we'll wait to see if he's found a little bit more pace. He's certainly right onto it now, so here we go. Mark Lunn almost turned it around, guys, on the cold tyres. He absolutely outbraked himself and almost turned it around, so Mark Lunn under some serious attack now from John Downkowski in the 8, and he's understeered across the apex of the corner, so the go-kart just hasn't quite settled just yet. So Mark Lunn goes to the middle of the track just to cover John Downkowski's run in a straight line. John Downkowski is too rich. He's got too much fuel on board, so he can't take advantage of Mark Lunn being on cold tyres at this stage because he's running a little bit too rich. So the two evils have equalled themselves out, but should prove to be a fascinating battle. Sportsman SA is a class that's designed as an entry-level class into karting. It uses the full clubman setup with a 15 horsepower, 15,000 RPM Yamaha S engine, but uses the hard Dunlop tyres that the junior drivers use on their go-kart. So it produces a very interesting format, but it also makes it very affordable. A lot of new guys come into the sport and use this class to develop their skills prior to going to full-length clubman racing. Okay, Mark Lunn in the 22 is a good example of that. He just came into the sport in March of this year and is now out there leading. He's developed his skills nicely. And John Downkowski, he has been around forever. He's been a long-term racer and comes from Mount Gambier. So that's one of the great things about the Sportsman SA is it provides you the two opportunities. Okay, Downkowski, you saw that time just on top of the curb and just lost about a kart length's difference. And the 22 of Mark Lunn starting to look really good now and starting to put some good numbers together. Downkowski in the 8 goes through. And then the 65 of Russell Proven. And Proven's been a part of the action all week. He's very much part of the race in the pre-final when him and Mark Good had an absolute ripper. So we'll wait to see how it all unfurls. So Mark Lunn comes down through the Liberty S's, 12 on the blackboard. John Downkowski in the 8 with 8 on the board. Russell Proven in the 65. Mark Good in the 16. Joshua Rust in the 20, and they've featured throughout the whole weekend. The driver was a little bit unlucky. It's Micah Hill in the 33, and Micah was up as high as 3rd in the pre-final, but has dropped back, as you can see, when the final came. But she also had the bad luck of not having the engine start in the first race, so she's been forced to start down the back all weekend, but certainly showed some good pace throughout the weekend. Okay, back to the race leader, and Mark Lunn is our leader in the yellow and black 22. John Downkowski. His engine settled down now, and the tunes come to him as the engine's warmed up. Goes down the straight. Mark Good continues his chase on the back of the 65 of Russell Proven. These two drivers had an absolute ripper in the earlier race, so they just continue on with it, and let's see how they unfurl as the race goes on. It's down into the first 5 laps have been completed, and they're down into the next 10 laps to go. So Mark Lunn just doing it comfortably. John Downkowski's just getting a little bit quicker as the race unfurls. Mark Good getting a little bit better. You can see he's right on the back of Russell Proven as they head down the straight. So just a fascinating battle between these two groups of karts. And you can see Joshua Rust just getting a little bit of a hurry up there off the end of the straight from Micah Hill. Micah Hill just closing down under brakes and just had a very slight contact with Joshua Rust. And she's all over the back of Joshua Rust, which is looking down through the field. Okay, coming back to our race leader though. Mark Lunn brings it onto the straight. From John Downkowski in the 8. And the gap remains static. I was had a feeling that Downkowski was just starting to close up a little bit, and we might be looking for a bit of a dice towards the end, but I don't know if we're going to get the opportunity to see it. It's certainly half race distance this time around for Mark Lung. There's 8 on the board. As he comes around, it'll go to 7. It'll put him at half race distance. So Mark Lung in the 22, John Dankowski in the 8, Russell Proven in the 65, Mark Good in the 16, and the dicing down the back of the pack here has got very interesting. David Rennenberg, who ran 4th yesterday and had a bad spark plug earlier on today and missed the pre-final, is now moving up through the traffic. So our man from the Air Force, Rennenberg, is starting to put some good numbers together in the 58, and then comes Joshua Rust in the 20 kart, being hotly pursued by Micah Hill in the 33. In fact, Micah just went past Joshua Rust at the end of the straight, and down through the S's that group comes. So that's where the dicing's been in this race, is down the back of the field. Okay, here we go. Mark Lund comes on. This is where John Dankowski has been teasing me, because he's getting closer and closer, and then all of a sudden Mark Lund will reply and drive away. So we'll wait and see how it unfurls. Mark Lund hasn't blinked, and John Dankowski is just slowly closing the gap. And Dankowski's very, very good off the Wakefield turn. That's where he's a little bit stronger. He's in the top end of the circuit. So 6 laps remain. The most important part of the race is the last 5 laps, and that's what you've got to tune for. And we'll wait and see if Mark Lund's done enough to get there. He's got some excellent advice from Tony Favre's providing him with the pit crew today, so he's got some excellent help. So here we go, Mark Lund. But John Dankowski is visually closer now. So John continues his run. So let's see if he can close the gap in the next 2 laps. Lap 3 to go will tell us exactly where we're at, and we'll know if we've got a dice to the finish. John Dankowski in the second heat yesterday did exactly this, closed in on Mark Lund and got a pass towards the end of the run and went on to win it. So we might be seeing this again. So Dankowski from Mark Lund. Mark Lund, the newer driver in it, and Dankowski brings all those years of racing experience with him. So you can see Dankowski doing those little things in the seat, up and down in the saddle, trying to close the gap on him. And just while we were watching the leaders, Mark Good's now gone into 3rd place and has got past Russell Proven, and that's what he's done all weekend. So Mark Good's moved up 1. Top end of the circuit, 4 on the blackboard. And Mark Lund has got a very, very quick John Dankowski on his tail, except John Dankowski that time just got the back of the curb there and just couldn't carry the speed off the S's that he needed to. But visually he's closer and he's right there. 3 on the blackboard, and I said we'll see what sort of race we got with 3 to go. So Mark Lund brings it around. John Dankowski ducks his head and heads down the straight. So Mark Lung from Dankowski. 3rd place will be Mark Good, hotly pursued by Russell Proven. Top end of the circuit. And there'll be 2 on the blackboard next time round. Mark Lung, should I say, was very, very good through the S's that time. And just probably opened that gap up by another half a kart length. So he's responded well. So 2 laps remain on the board. So Mark Lund goes through. John Dankowski will have to find something special as they go down the straight. Mark Lund ducks his head, does all the little things that are important to maintain that race lead. Takes it across the apex of turn 1 and up into the Wakefield turn. John Dankowski right there on his tail. And Dankowski's good here. And Mark Lund's very good as he comes off the corner and comes down hard under brakes. So last lap board will be presented. Dankowski just asks everything of his little go-kart to try and get there, but just can't quite get there. So Mark Lund will bring it onto the start finish straight with the last lap board presented. So Mark Lund will come through, duck his head, move to the centre of the track. No, he doesn't. He keeps his racing line, so he's going to drive all the way to the finish. John Dankowski right on his tail. Mark Good should come through in the 16 from Russell Proven. And a few changes down the back of the pack, which I haven't been able to keep an eye on. But Micah Hill has moved up on David Rennenberg from Josh. So here we go, final lap inside of the Liberty hairpin. Mark Lund comes through. John Dankowski comes at him, but Mark Lund has done enough to go on to take the race win. So Mark Lung wins here for Leicester Racing, the SA agent for J&A from John Downkowski. Mark Goodall comes through from Russell Proven in the 65. A great drive from Micah Hill to come through in the 33. David Renenberg goes through in the 58, and then comes the 20 of Joshua Rust. Travis Figg goes through and then our final kart will be the 23 of Jack Rose.